You walk into a room where two people just had an argument. Nobody tells you, but you feel it. Something shifts in your chest the moment you cross the threshold. A friend calls to vent. You listen. You say the right things. You hang up the phone. And now you're the one who can't sleep. You spend a weekend with family. Nothing dramatic happened. No confrontation. No raised voices. But by Sunday evening, you feel like you personally absorbed every unspoken tension in that house. And it takes days to shake it off. People have called you too sensitive, too intense, a sponge. They say you take everything personally. Some of them mean it kindly. It still stings. What none of them have ever offered you is an explanation. But today, I want to offer you a different perspective, one that is a little kinder and a lot more scientific. I know exactly what you've been told. Too sensitive, too permeable, a sponge, a pushover, someone who wears their heart too close to the surface. And here is what nobody tells you about that diagnosis. It is not a character flaw. It is a wiring specification. What you are experiencing is not a defect in your nervous system. It is an amplified version of the very mechanism that makes humans capable of connection at all. Neuroscientists and psychologists have a name for people whose nervous systems are calibrated this way. We call it the resonant brain, a brain in which the system for detecting, simulating, and responding to others' emotional states operates at a higher than average sensitivity involuntarily, automatically, and constantly. Think of it this way. Most people have Wi-Fi. You have Wi-Fi with no off switch. You didn't build it that way. But here is what that actually means about your hardware. To understand why your brain works this way, we need to look at three specific systems and what happens when all three are running at full power at the same time. Neuroscientists have identified three separate systems in your brain that are driving this, and they are not metaphors. They are structures you were born with. Mechanism 1, the cortisol transfer strike, one tuning fork. Hold another of the same frequency beside it. The second one begins to vibrate without ever being touched. That is not a metaphor for what your brain does. It is the most accurate description of it we have. Researchers call this the cortisol transfer, a named, measurable biochemical event that happens when you observe someone else under stress. Here is the science. Tanya Singer's research team at the Max Planck Institute for Human Cognitive and Brain Sciences ran a study where observers watched other people undergo a stress test, separated from them by a wall. Not involved, not in danger, just watching. 26% of those observers showed a significant, measurable rise in cortisol in the primary stress hormone, despite having no direct exposure to the stressor whatsoever. Wild, right? A separate study from Harvard and UC San Diego found that between 15 and 25% of what you are feeling in any given social situation may not have originated in you at all. Read that again. Up to a quarter of your emotional state borrowed, without your consent, without your awareness. This is why you leave a conversation physically tired. You didn't imagine it. Your endocrine system was running a full stress response for someone else's emergency. The resonant brain is a tuning fork that vibrates more readily, at more frequencies, from greater distances. Now, mechanism 2, the mirror broadcast. But here's the third mechanism, and this one is the architecture underneath everything. You have a system in your brain whose entire function is to simulate, in your own neurons, what you observe happening in someone else. When they feel it, your brain fires as if you feel it too, not metaphorically, literally. We call this the mirror broadcast. Cognitive scientists discovered it in the 1990s when Giacomo Rizzolatti's team at the University of Parma found neurons that fired identically whether a subject performed an action or simply watched someone else perform it. Since confirmed in humans via fMRI, it was not a fringe finding. It reshaped how neuroscience understands empathy entirely. Deep in the center of your brain sits a structure called the anterior insula. When it activates, you don't just understand someone's emotional state intellectually, you feel a version of it in your body, viscerally, physically. A 2014 study by Acevedo, Aaron, and colleagues at UC Santa Barbara found that people who score high on sensory processing sensitivity show significantly stronger activation in the insula, anterior cingulate, and mirror neuron regions when viewing others' emotional expressions. The signal is louder, the reception is clearer, and it is not something they choose. The mirror broadcast operates like a live transmission. You receive the signal whether you tuned in or not. Most people receive a signal and then consciously decide whether to engage with it. A resonant brain is already inside the signal before the decision can be made. This is why you don't choose to absorb the room. The room is already inside you before you've had a single conscious thought about it. But here's the third mechanism, and this one may be the one that finally explains why it is stronger in some people than others. Mechanism 3. The deep filter. Most brains record social interactions in standard definition. A resonant brain records in 4K. Every micro-expression, every shift in vocal tone, every flicker of discomfort in the room, all of it captured, all of it processed, all of it stored. Psychologists call this sensory processing sensitivity, and the people who carry it are known as highly sensitive persons, HSPs. Psychologist Elaine Aron at Stony Brook University has been studying this trait since 1991. Roughly 1 in 5 people carry it. And it shows up not just in their behavior, but in measurable differences in brain activation. We call the mechanism the deep filter. The brain processes every social interaction through a finer mesh, catching signals that others miss entirely. The research identifies 4 interlocked dimensions. Depth of processing information is analyzed more thoroughly before a response is generated. Overstimulation, more input means more cost. Emotional responsiveness and empathy. The mirror system and stress contagion system both run hotter. And sensitivity to subtleties, the filter catches what standard definition misses. All 4 are neurologically interlinked. Deep emotional absorption is not one trait. It is the output of a whole system running at higher resolution. Stay with me, because here is what you need to hear. If this level of sensitivity were a pure liability, natural selection would have removed it from the gene pool thousands of years ago. It didn't. Biologists have found the trait in over 100 species, from fish to primates, because every group needs scouts. Every tribe needs people who sense what's coming before it arrives, before the argument erupts, before the room breaks. The resonant brain was the early warning system, and no tribe that had won ever wished it away. The resonant brain was not an accident. It was a design choice. Evolution's design choice. If you've spent your whole life being told you feel too much, this channel is for you. Subscribing takes 2 seconds and means you'll never miss one of these conversations. But I need to make space for something important, because this is where the science gets personal. Not all emotional absorption is neurologically driven. Some of it is learned, some of it is protective, and some of it is the nervous system of a child who grew up in a house where reading the room was a survival skill, not a gift. There is a difference between resonant absorption and anxious absorption. Resonant absorption happens because your mirror system fires deeply and your stress contagion threshold is low. It is neurological. It is structural. It arrived with you. Anxious absorption happens because you were trained in early life to monitor others' emotions as a form of self-protection. You became an emotional sentry because it was safer than being caught off guard. Both are real. Both are exhausting. But one is a feature. The other is a wound that learned to look like a feature. Here is the question I want you to sit with. When you absorb someone's emotion, does it feel like something that simply happens to you? Or does it feel like something you are compelled to do because not knowing what they feel carries a risk? If it's the second, that is not sensitivity. That is hypervigilance. And it deserves its own conversation with someone trained to have it. So here is my proposal for you. We call this the signal check. 3 questions, practiced in the moment, not after the fact. It is not about blocking the signal. It is about learning to tell what is yours and what is borrowed. Step 1, the origin question. The moment you notice a shift in your emotional state during or after a social interaction, pause and ask, was I already feeling this before I entered this situation? Or did it arrive with someone else? You are not analyzing. You are simply time-stamping the emotion. Where did this feeling begin? Step 2, the body inventory emotions. Absorbed from others often feel slightly foreign in the body, slightly too large, slightly displaced, like wearing someone else's coat. After a draining interaction, scan your body and ask, does this feeling fit me, or am I carrying it for someone? This is not analytical distance. It is proprioception. You are locating yourself inside your own body again. Step 3, the return. If the emotion is not yours, you are not required to carry it. This is the most important sentence in this video. You can witness someone's pain, hold space for their reality, feel genuine compassion without absorbing their distress into your body as though it were your own emergency. The signal check ends with a single, quiet statement, said internally. That belongs to them. I can set it down. You are not broken. You are not a burden. You are not too much. You are running a nervous system that evolution designed to feel everything, because some things are only visible to people who are paying that level of attention. The goal is not to turn the Wi-Fi off. The goal is to know which signals are yours. Start with step 1, tonight. Just the timestamp. Before bed, one feeling and one honest question about where it came from. And if something in this video resonated, if the exhaustion piece, the cortisol piece, the always tired for no reason piece felt familiar, I made a video specifically on why people with this kind of nervous system are mentally exhausted all the time. Click here. It will connect some dots that have probably been frustrating you for years. If this channel has ever helped you understand yourself a little better, subscribing means we get to keep having this conversation.